Okay, I guess we'll get started. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Okay, roll call. Mark Favazza here. Jack Shelton? Here. Brian Nolan? Here. Lisa Shearing?
Here.
Jeff Moore?
Here.
Sherry Bilderbeck?
Here.
Matt Foreman? Not yet? Okay. And Carl Carlin?
Here.
Is that quorum? We're good. We have quorum. We'll see if Matt shows up. Okay, did everyone get a chance to review the agenda? Good, okay. How about do we need to, okay. Motion to approve, all in favor? Opposed? No. Someone needs to make the motion. Okay, all righty.
I told you wrong.
Yeah.
Changed.
Okay, okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Agenda's approved. Okay. Did anyone see the minutes from the March 11th meeting? Any changes? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, approved. Do we have any citizens in the audience with any comments that is not on tonight's agenda? Don't see anyone. Anyone online? Nope, no one online. Okay. Old business, case number 26006 for the site development plan for the townhome development. It looks like there has been a request to postpone, so do we have a motion? Need a motion for that, correct? Yes.
I move that we. I move that we postpone the review of the site development plan for the townhome development at 8815 Madge until the May Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
Second.
Second? Okay, we can do that by, no. Yeah, voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. New business, case number 26-12, is the applicant, for the, is that the Code Red Dance Company? Is the applicant here? Please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Anthony Red Williams, and the address is 8510 Manchester.
Okay. Is it your report first, or?
Well, he can talk.
Yeah,
He can
go
talk
ahead.
about his.
Tell us what you're looking for.
So, right now I have a dance studio in U City. It's a commercial hip hop dance studio and company Code Red Dance Studio. I have been there for 5 years, and we just need a bigger space. So, the company has grown a little, well, fairly a lot. A little bit about myself: I'm a professional choreographer, creative director from St. Louis, Missouri. Came back to St. Louis back in 2007, served at Coca for 15 years as the artistic director and creative director of their hip hop programs. Started my own company 2017, opened up my studio in 2021. It's been 5 years now, and we just outgrown the space. Yeah, and I just want somewhere a little more sustainable, something that feels a lot more safe. So that we can grow into and create new memories.
Okay. So now we get the report.
Yes, and I forgot to click share, so I will just try to walk you through it. The applicant is seeking a conditional use permit for a 2,600 square foot dance studio at 8516 through 8518 Manchester Road. On the property addressed as 8500 within the strip center. There was a StrengthWorks weightlifting and training gym at this location that closed in December, and the property did receive approval for a comprehensive sign plan on August 19th, 2024. The property is zoned MC, Manchester Corridor Commercial District, where enclosed recreational uses, including dance studios, are a conditional use for properties over 1 acre. And the property is 1.1 acre. Since they're not making any changes to the exterior of the building or the site, the review is limited to just parking. There are 74 parking spaces available on site, and in a reviewing of all of the different uses, if we include the vacant former sideline bar as a restaurant for future use, they have a total required parking of 91 spaces. However, the code does allow for a 20% reduction. And it is important to note that should a restaurant locate in this space, it would require coming back to you for review of the conditional use permit. So we can look at the parking again at that time. With it being vacant, if it converts to a retail use or an office use, then that would lower the parking required for all of the uses to 59 spaces. So at this time, they do not have a parking concern on this site. As I indicated, they did receive a comprehensive sign plan that allows for the main sign to be over their main entrance, and then the side space available to this tenant would be some sort of logo, minor logo, in review of that comprehensive sign plan. They did not show any signage at that time, but I'm just making everyone aware of that.
Discussion, any discussion or questions?
I have a question for the applicant. So with what our planning and zoning director just described, as far as possibly having to have a conditional use permit in the future, if the if the other tenant then goes back in as like a restaurant use, and you're comfortable knowing that at this point, knowing that there may be some shift in the future?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to approve it.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second,
Second?
Oh,
Oh.
but then we got to do audience.
yeah,
Oh,
do-
yes.
oh,
Is
Public
it-
comment?
Yes, anyone in the audience have any discussion or questions? Or online?
No attendees online.
No attendees online, okay. So I don't see anyone, so we have a
So moved.
motion, and we have a second, I believe. Okay, so let's take a vote. Jack Shelton?
Yes.
Brian Nolan? Yes. Lisa Shearing?
Yes.
Jeff Moore?
Yes.
Sherry Bilderbeck?
Yes.
Matt Foreman's not here. Carl Carlin?
Yes.
Motion is approved. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And this will go before the, Board of Aldermen
At the May meeting.
at the
I
May
will-
Board of Aldermen meeting. Okay, thank you. Next new item of business, case number 26-013 for the subdivision of 1 Brentwood Promenade Court to create two new out parcels. Is the applicant here? Okay, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening. Patrick Eckelkamp with Hush Blackwell representing the applicant. My address is 8001 Forsyth, Clayton, Missouri, 63105. Suite 1500 if you need it. Yes, thank you, commissioners, and good evening. I'm here tonight on behalf of HRP Brentwood LLC. That is the affiliated entity that bought the Brentwood Promenade that you guys know back in July of 2025. That is Haverford Retail Partners. They are headquartered in Pennsylvania. The Brentwood Promenade was their first venture into the state of Missouri. Just to give you a little bit of background, they are a vertically integrated real estate company. They've done over 100 transactions with valued at over $2.5 billion. So just gives you a little bit of background on who owns the Promenade and what they're doing in your community. So we're here tonight on a really simple, I believe, straightforward request, and that is to subdivide an existing parcel into, well, there's one large parcel, which I have handouts if you guys need those, or if you're familiar with what was in the packet. So the parent parcel is approximately 15 acres. And what we're requesting this evening is to subdivide the UMB Bank, which would be at the northwest corner of the property and the Chase, into 2 smaller lots. So there would then be 3 parcels made out of that one larger 15-acre parcel. Nothing would change about the use, operations, maintenance, landscaping, lighting, or parking. There's no, no additional expansion of the buildings. There's nothing like that. So the request is straightforward approval of the subdivision of 1 Brentwood Promenade Court to create 2 new outlots. Just a little bit of background. If this were to be approved, the westernmost parcel would be a little over 1/2 acre, which would be the UMB Bank. That's the one with the drive-through. And then the eastern parcel would be 0.67 acres. So that would leave the parent parcel that was almost 16 acres down to about 14 acres. And then, so that parcel that we're talking about is owned, or it has Trader Joe's, Ulta, World Market, PetSmart, Five Below. So it's that line of stores there. The Target parcel is its own separate parcel already, and then the Dobbs parcel on the southern portion of the development is its own parcel as well. So the zoning code does allow for lots less than 1 acre if there are certain unique circumstances, such as unusual shape or proportion, or if the board finds that it's in the best interest of the development and the general public interest. So there's a couple of things driving this, why it has to be less than 1 acre. So if obviously you guys are familiar, coming off of Eager Road, that access drive is right there. We wanted to keep that with the larger parcel. That makes sense. And then on the western side, the UMB Bank parcel, there's 44 parking spaces just to the west of the UMB Bank parcel, and that's actually on the Target parcel already. So we didn't want to mess with both of those, so we kept that the same. So again, this subdivision, the request for that is, due to the financing and the ownership structure, provides a little bit more flexibility moving forward as they acquired this. If they need different entities or different financing for these outlots, that is the request. If you have any questions, please let me know. So that is, I would respectfully request that you guys find, that the commissioners find this subdivision in furtherance of the overlay district, that it is in compliance with the overlay, or furthers the purpose of the overlay district, find that it's in the general public interest, and I request your favorable consideration of this request and recommend approval of the subdivision. I'm happy to answer any questions. As I mentioned, I have some handouts if you need a visual. Other than that, thank you for your time.
Do we need staff report before we get into discussion?
Sure.
Okay.
Although Mr. Eckelkamp covered most of it.
Okay.
But as he indicated, the Brentwood Promenade was originally redeveloped and rezoned to the PD Plan Development Overlay District in 1999 by Ordinance 3497. It might have been 1997, I'm sorry. The entire Brentwood Promenade development is 25.74 acres, with 1 Brentwood Promenade, which is this parcel under consideration, is 15.94 acres, and 25 Brentwood Promenade, which is the target site, at 9.8 acres. The Section 400-1380 of the Plan Development Overlay District does state that it requires that properties within the PD overlay district comprise of a minimum lot size of 1 acre, provided, however, that the minimum lot size may be waived by the Board of Aldermen if the parcel in question has certain unique characteristics, such as, but not limited to, significant topographic change, significant trees, wooded areas, wetlands, floodplains, or soil conditions, water courses or utility easements, unusual shape, or the proportions, or if the board should determine such waiver to be granted in the general public interest. It's important, as the applicant has indicated, that overall the 2 parcels will still be within the Brentwood Promenade development. So any changes to those sites would have to come back to this board for approval. At this time, they're not foreseeing any. And the parking is reviewed in a shared parking agreement, and that will not change as well.
Okay. Commissioner Bilderbeck?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have kind of a big picture question. So back when the development was originally done, one of the things about it was like, oh, we're going to own it all together and we'll maintain it, we're part of the community, that sort of thing. Obviously, things have changed over time, and we're pleased, obviously, to welcome your client as the owner of the promenade. And what I would ask is, if we're creating different lots and things like that, what are the intentions or the possibilities as far as selling to parts of it to different owners, even if it would remain subject to the general requirements of the Brentwood Promenade from the beginning? How many potential other owners could we be dealing with down the road in the future for this one development?
Yeah, that's a very good question. In talking with our client, they don't have any intention of selling these. I mean, of course, things can happen. I don't want to say that they're never going to sell it. Obviously, they would like the flexibility, again, as with the financing and the ownership structure. I do believe that the Target was recently sold. I do believe that was the case. Again, so under this, I call it an ECR, but under this declaration, they are still, the primary party that's responsible for the maintenance operations and landscaping and all that. So they will still be a party that you can go to if you need, accountability, if you need to talk to somebody. They have the most behind the city of Brentwood. They had the most vested interest in this facility. So you can always, I gave you my phone number and my email address, so you can also call me if anything comes up like that.
Thank you. So really, even if they were to sell off a couple of these parcels down the road, they would still maintain a major interest in the property and as far as a whole with the promenade. Is that correct?
That's correct, Commissioner, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all my questions.
Yes, Commissioner Moore?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But today, are both buildings occupied by long-term lease tenants?
That's correct, Commissioner. I drove out there just before this. I work over in Clayton, but came down here before. And yeah, there's a UMB on the western side, and then I think it was an old mattress spot, but now it's a Chase Bank that occupies the eastern one. So between the UMB Bank and then the pylon or the monument sign.
I understand. I guess my curiosity is whether or not there's some interest in different tenants for buildings, and particularly, are we looking at an instance where we're going to have drive-through lanes? Or
Yeah. So there is a drive-through on the western portion, as I'm sure you're aware, on the UMB Bank that already has a drive-through. And I've not had any discussions with them about coming back for like building modifications or trying to get. I presume under the code it would be a conditional use to have a drive-through. So they would be back before you. That has not come up in my discussions with them. I don't think they're contemplating that right now because they already have a tenant. But if they did, I'm fairly confident that we'd have to come back before you again for another approval.
And I am too. Just for the benefit of the commission, I mean, I believe that you wouldn't do this unless you were trying to set something up for another play. Just my two thoughts. And floor.
Build back.
Thank you. And that's exactly why I was asking, but not necessarily about the idea, and which is not directly related to the discussion today about, what future tenants could possibly be. But if they were to sell the parcels in the future and they wanted to have it be, let's say, for example, a high-impact drive-through fast food restaurant, then the parking in the Brentwood Promenade has been a huge, just giving you some background,
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
huge issue over time. The compact parking spaces are really tight. We probably, this was our first major development project back in the day, and we probably should not have allowed as many compact car spaces as we did. But it is a PD district, so we did that, and it's very robust and it's very successful center, obviously, one of the most successful Targets, I believe, for example. So, but with that said, it's really busy, it's really congested, there's a lot of parking, and it would be, I don't want to speak for any of the other commissioners, but just as a heads up, it would be a tough nut to crack to get something like that approved on this site under a conditional use permit, just to follow up on my colleagues' comments as foreshadowing.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. And just to give everybody some context, when I first got engaged by a client, I told them, you're not messing with the parking. Like, if that's your plan, it's not worth it. In my first conversation with Whitney, I told her, we're not trying to do anything with parking or changing the use, the building sizes or anything like that. And they're fully aware that that's a tough tough road to hoe. Again, I think that to go back to a larger question, when people buy these retail centers, and there's like a separate interest in, if it's just like a single tenant net lease with a bank or something rather than a strip center. So again, nothing is under contract, nothing has happened. I've been working with them since they bought the property back in July, and it hasn't been up for discussion on selling these. It was just, again, we bought it, let's get in there and try to make some changes to our new ownership.
And it's a very successful project, so they made a good decision.
Yeah, they're very happy with St. Louis. So
Great, thank you very much.
I told them I was there on Saturday.
Any other questions? Commissioner
Yeah, I
Noel?
just had a quick question for staff. You mentioned in the report that the setback requirements weren't looked at. Would subdividing these properties cause any issue for the sites? I mean, obviously, I understand the parking is okay because that's cross parking, but specifically that western parcel, the building is like right next to the property line.
In the PD district, that western parcel is actually pre-existing, so they're not making any changes to that. The buildings are set back at the 50-foot building setback along Eager Road, and since they're not making any changes to the site, I did not do a deeper dive into the setbacks. The only new line is the middle line between the two properties. Setback, I'm sorry, I have to pull it up again. Since as a plan development overlay, the board can look at waiving some of those requirements. Setback is part of the larger development.
And Commissioner, just to answer your question, yeah, so that goes back to why it's kind of funky like this, why it's a little, that line is right there, and that's not moving, and that's a part of the target parcel, which again, where those 44 parking spaces are. So as I know you're aware, like there's a parking and vehicular ingress and egress easements, so.
And does Target own that to the west of that site, or?
Yeah, they do, yeah, so that's, I have like that parking lot right there.
Right. Yeah, I know the lot you're
If you have the
talking about.
handouts, why don't you give them to everybody?
Yeah,
so-
perfect.
I also have a really, really big one, if anybody wants it.
So just while y'all look at that, I can, under section of the Plan Development Overlay, 41380E5B, the side and rear yards, site landscaping treatment, grading, and any visual screening provided in any side or rear yard shall be determined by the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Board of Aldermen's site plan approval in accordance with Article 2, Division 9. In no instance shall the setback and buffer be less than 10 feet to any side or rear property line. The Board of Aldermen may waive this requirement where the use and development of the abutting properties is defined and provided for in a site plan for approval. So therefore, since the whole site was already developed altogether,
Commissioner Shelton?
I just have a question for staff too. Whitney, are you familiar or aware of where this maybe has been done in the past, like a precedent for allowing less than 1 acre subdivided site? Or would this be creating a precedent for that? I know it might be a unique situation, but just not sure if you were aware off the top of your head.
It's a good question. I could speak to that.
Yep.
So the Chick-fil-A, just to the east, that's 0.9 acres, I believe. And then the Dobbs, which is just to the south in that same development, that is, I wrote that down, went down. That is about 0.8 acres, I believe. And then the Home Goods store itself to the east, over closer to the Deerbergs, which has the same zoning overlay, that's a little less than 1 acre as well. So, yes, thank you. Very good question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I feel like the subdivision of the lots, as far as that goes, is wholly consistent with the whole vision that we had from the beginning. I mean, and as long as far as ownership down the road, as things are under the general development agreement, I think that we've got that protection. So whenever we get to that point, I'd love to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other commissioners? I don't see anyone in the audience, no one online. Okay. Would you like?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Oh, there is. Would they like to comment or have a question? Hear anything? So, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend approval of the subdivision of 1 Brentwood Promenade Court to create 2 new outlots of 0.53 and 0.67 acres as presented at the April 8th, 2006 Planning and Zoning Commission to the Board of Aldermen.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Commissioner Shelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Nolan?
Yes.
Commissioner Shearing?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Bilderbeck?
Yes.
Commissioner Carlin?
Yes.
It is unanimous. It passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, next order of business, aldermanic report. I don't see any aldermen here. And Director of Planning and Zoning?
Our next meeting is May 13th, so we will have the site plan for the 9-unit new townhome development at 8815 Madge. The deadline actually for the May meeting is next week, so we will probably have other applicants as well.
Yes?
And nomination of officers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can always count on Sherry to remind me.
That's next month we do that?
Yes.
Okay,
We do the nominations in May and June and vote in June.
okay. Got it. Okay, I don't see anything else on the agenda, so we are adjourned.